Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to make a hat for babies 9 to 12 months old. But don't worry, I'll show you how to size it up and how to size it down for younger babies and older children. This hat is going to be a tie-on bonnet style hat. For this project, you're going to need a 6mm crochet hook. You're also going to need some yarn. I'm using this number 4 worsted weight wool in a soft pink and a mottled sort of green forest vibe. I dyed these yarns, this one with jacquard acid dyes and this one with avocados. You'll also need a yarn needle. There is a little bit of sewing in this project. Also, you'll need some scissors. So gather your supplies and let's jump in. I'm going to start with this beautiful green yarn today. I'm going to begin with a slip knot. From here, chain 26. 1, 2, 3, 24, 25, and 26. Now we've got our initial chain. From here, I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. 1 and 2, complete a single crochet. From here, I'm going to single crochet all the way down this first row. Here I am coming up to the end of that first row. I'll put my last couple of single crochets in, and now I've got a row with 25 stitches. I'm going to be switching the color of my yarn now. So I'm going to insert my hook into the last chain stitch, yarn over with the yarn, and pull up a loop, and now I've got 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to drop that tail, and I am going to pick up my pale pink yarn at this point, and I am going to just complete the stitch with the new yarn. Just like that. Now, for the next row, I'm going to begin with a chain 1 and turn. For row number 2, I'm going to begin with a single crochet into the first stitch. Just a normal single crochet. Now, for the rest of the stitches in the row, I'm going to be doing it in the back loops only. So I'm going to insert the hook into the back loop of the stitch. You can see normally we would go through both loops and there would be 2 loops on the hook. Instead, I'm going to insert into the back loop of the stitch only. And then I'll yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And I'm going to do that all the way across for row number 2. Here I am coming up to the end of row number 2. I'm going to put my last single crochet into the back loop. And now for the last stitch of the row, I'm going to put my single crochet under both loops of the stitch. So instead of just the one, we're going to go under both, and then I'll yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops to complete my single crochet. Now I'll chain 1 and turn. Now we have row number 1 and row number 2. For row number 3, I'm going to start with a single crochet normal through both loops, and then I'm actually going to single crochet normally across. So no back loops only for this next row, just single crochet through both loops all the way to the end of row number 3. Here I am at the end of row number 3. I'm going to insert my hook into the last stitch of the row, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then I'm going to drop that pink tail and I'm going to pick up the green tail that we dropped when we switched colors. And I'm going to yarn over and finish that last single crochet with the green yarn. Then chain 1 and turn. Now, we've got one row where we did the back loops only. There is where we've got this little ridge. Then we've got 2 rows here, so back loop only and then a regular single crochet row. So we're going to do the same repeat here. We're going to do a back loop only single crochet row, and then we're going to come back with a regular single crochet row. For the first stitch of row number 4, we're going to put the crochet through both loops of the stitch and do a regular single crochet. Then for the rest of the row, we're going to do back loops only. In the last stitch, we go through both loops. So even when we're on a back loops only single crochet row, the first stitch and the last stitch of the row will always go through both loops. It creates a nice straight edge, which is good when we've got this sort of rippled stitch. Having a nice strong straight edge, it just looks a little bit neater. So I'm going to zoom through this back loops only row and I'll see you at the end of the row. Here I am coming up to the end of row number 4. I've got one last stitch in the row here. So that is going to be a regular single crochet, not back loops only. And then I'll chain 1 and turn. Now for row number 5, we're just going to do a row of regular single crochets. So through both loops, I'm going to single crochet across the row. Since it's just a single crochet row, I'll zoom through this and I'll see you at the end of row number 5. I've made it to the end of row number 5. In the last stitch, I'm going to switch back to the pink. So I'm going to insert the hook through both stitches, yarn over with the green, and then I'm going to drop the green and pick the pink up again, yarn over and complete my single crochet with the pink yarn. Then I will chain 1 and turn. And now I'm on row number 6. We're going to be having this really cute stripy pattern going for this hat. So for row 6, I'm going to do what I've been doing, single crochet regularly into the first stitch, single crochet back loops only across the row with a regular single crochet in the last stitch of the row. From this point on, all of the even rows are going to be done this way. The even rows will all be back loops only, and the odd rows will all be regular single crochet across. I'm going to continue with this exact same pattern until this rectangle is twice as long as it is wide. We want to create a rectangle that when we fold it over, it looks like a square. If you're making this for a smaller baby, your initial chain is going to be shorter. You want the chain to measure from the top of baby's head to the bottom of baby's chin. The size I'm making, again, is for about a 9 to 12 month old. So if you're making it for a 6-month-old, you may want to start with a chain of 25, 24, 23, anything that gets you from the tip of their head down to the side of their chin. So at this point, I'm going to zoom through these rows, just single crocheting back loops only and single crocheting regularly until my rectangle measures twice as long as it is wide. I'm gonna zip through that and I'll see you at the end of the rectangle. All right, so I've made it now to row number 55, and I think that this is gonna be long enough. Actually, I think I have to finish at 56 because I want to be back at the end with the ties here because this is going to be the back of the hat. All right, so I'm on row number 55. I'm going to do row number 55 and row number 56 with my dark green yarn. And then I'm going to block this real quick with my iron, and then I'll come back and measure it with you to show you how big our final rectangle is for the size that I'm making. I'm still doing the exact same repeat of the back loops only. For the last row, I'm going to do a regular row of single crochet. So let me just finish row number 55 and 56 and I'll be right back. All right, I just finished the last row. I pressed this under my iron and you can see how beautiful that green yarn looks. It crocheted up so lovely. I love all the speckles in there. And then the pale pink, it's very like creamy colored. I think it came out lovely. So this is going to be the back. This is a flat side. And then this is going to be the front of the hat, the bonnet. It's got a bit of a texture to it. Hard to tell in this lighting, but I promise there is. Now we're going to be at the point where we're going to be putting this hat bonnet together. So at this point, the rectangle measures about 7 inches by about 14 inches. You make yours as big as you need it to make. Now we're going to get into the part where we put it together. So I'm going to decide that this is the outside. What we're going to do is we're going to fold the rectangle so that the right side of the fabric, the side we want facing out, is going to be on the inside of our fold. And then we've got our working loop still connected. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to line up my little bonnet so that the stripes all match up. We want pink hitting pink, green hitting green, so that when we turn it inside out, it is a perfect stripe. Now, with my crochet hook, I'm going to single crochet the fabric together at these rows. I'm gonna pull the hook out at this point, and I'm gonna insert it. Let me zoom you in. So I have my working loop here. I'm gonna insert the hook into the same space that that last stitch came out of, right there. And then I'm going to insert the hook into the first stitch of the first row on this side, just like that. And then I'm going to grab that working loop and I'm going to put it on to the hook, just like that. Beelzebub, you can't help. And then I'm gonna pull that working loop through the hook. And now our front and back are connected. Next, I'm going to insert the hook into the next first stitch of the next row on both pieces of fabric, just like that, and complete a single crochet. Beelzebub. Sorry, my bird is trying to help today. Hey, you can't have that either. And from here, it's going to be easy. I'm just going to crochet over my ends all the way down until we get to the corner of the work. All right, so I've made it to the corner. I'm gonna do my last single crochet here, and then I am now at a single row. So I just did the last So I just did the last pink row on both sides, and now there's just these 2 green rows that are folded on each other. So I'm gonna do one more single crochet, don't bite me, just into that corner stitch. And then I'm gonna turn the work around. And now we've got this nice clean seam to put the hat together in the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna slip stitch down the exact same row. So I'm gonna put 1 slip stitch in each stitch all the way down, and that's just gonna create a really nice finished looking seam. It also helps weave in the end for this section to create a little bit more security and a sturdy seam. All right, at this point, I'm going to break off my yarn, and I'm going to yarn over 1 additional time and pull the yarn through. This is gonna be an end that we weave in. And this is gonna be the back seam of the bonnet. So with that seam, we're going to turn the hat inside out to put the seam on the inside, just like that. And now this is the back of our little hat. So that's gonna be the back of the project. This is going to be the front of the bonnet. You can either fold it up so that it's like this, and this is gonna be where we put the ties to tie the bonnet onto baby's head. Now, the next step is to create some rib stitches around the bottom here. We want this to sort of cinch in a little bit like that, so that it looks like just a cute little whimsical bonnet. So to do that, I'm going to pick up at the bottom of the work, at the bottom green corner. I'm gonna pick up with the pink because the last color we used was the green, so I wanna use the pink for this section. And I'm going to pick up the first stitch in the work. To do that, I'm going to yarn over the hook once it's in that first stitch and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to chain 1. Then I'm going to drop down my tail, and then I'll chain a second time just with the 1 strand. Now we're gonna be working in double crochets for this next part, so I'm going to start with a double crochet into the same stitch I just did the chain 2 out of, just like that. So yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over again and pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull through 2 of those loops, yarn over again, pull through the remaining 2 loops, just like that. And from here, I am going to double crochet all the way across 1 time in each stitch, all the way until I get to the center where the seam is, and then all the way to the other corner. All right, I'm just gonna put my last double crochet in there, and then I'm gonna chain 2, 1 and 2, and turn the work. Now for this next part, we're gonna be working in front post, back post double crochets. I'm gonna be doing the reverse of what I usually do, just because I'm working on the back side of the fabric. Usually I start with a front post in the first stitch and then do back post in the second. I'm gonna start with a back post here. Reason being, I want the front side of the fabric to have a front post, so I have to do a back post when working on the back side of the fabric. So first I'll yarn over my hook. Then I'll insert the hook in front, from back to front through the work, and then from front to back through the work in the next space, pulling back the entire post of the stitch. Then I'll yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, I'll yarn over, pull through 2 of them, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. There's my back post double crochet. Then in the next stitch, a front post double crochet. So yarn over, insert from front to back into the work, and then from back to front into the work through the next space, pulling the entire post forward. Then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. And then in the next stitch, a back post double crochet, and then in the next stitch, a front post double crochet, and in the next stitch, a back post double crochet, and then front, and then back, until we reach the center of the work. So when we reach that seam, stop, and I'll show you what we're gonna do at that point. I'm just gonna zoom through these front posts, back posts until I get to that center seam, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do at that point. All right, here I am at that center seam. I just did my last back post double crochet, and now I've got 2 stitches, one on the last stitch of the first piece of fabric, and then one on the first stitch of the second piece of fabric. These 2 stitches, I am going to front post double crochet them, but I'm gonna front post double crochet them together into 1 stitch. So I'm gonna yarn over, insert the hook behind the first one and the second one, just like this. And then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through both of those, like that. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, just to join those together and create a little bit of tension here. Then I'm going to continue as I have been, back post double crochet, front post double crochet until I get to the starting corner. All right, I've made it to the end of the rib stitch row. I'm just gonna put my last back post, if I can here, my last back post double crochet in, and then I'm gonna chain 1 and turn the work around. Now we're working on the outside of the fabric again, and you can see we've got this cute little ribbed detail here. And now what we're going to do is we are going to do the opposite of what we did for the last row for this first row. We're gonna start with a front post double crochet in the first stitch, and then in the next stitch, we will do a back post double crochet. And then in the next stitch, a front post. We're just doing the reverse of what we did for the previous row on this row here. And we're just going to repeat this all the way across for this third row on the sort of collar section. This is the neck section of the hat. This will be the area that goes around the neck. So I'm just going to continue with my front post double crochet, back post double crochet stitches until I get back to the other corner of the work. All right, I've just finished the ribbed stitch for around the collar portion of the little bonnet here. And now what I'm going to do is at this corner, this is gonna be where we wanna have the string for tying the little bonnet up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 30. 1, 2, 3, and 30. Now next, with my chain of 30 here, I'm going to slip stitch down the chain. So in the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, I'm going to just slip stitch into the chain. And then I'm gonna slip stitch 1 time in every chain stitch until I'm back at the work. All right, I've made it down that chain and I'm back at the work now. And what I'm going to do is I am going to single crochet now 1 time in each row all the way around. So this is 2 rows of single crochets here. So I'm gonna put 1 single crochet here, 1 here. But for this ribbed stitch section, I'm going to put 1 single crochet into the first stitch of the row, 1 single crochet into the first stitch of the next row, 1 single crochet into the first stitch of the next row. And now I'm back at the body of the work. And I'm just going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch of every row, all the way around until I get back to the rib stitch on the other side of the work. And when I get to that point, I'm going to show you what we are going to do next for the other side. All right, I made it back to the other end of the work, and I'm going to just put my single crochets into the first stitch of the row for the double crochet portion. And now I'm back at a corner, and now I'm going to chain 30 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And then again, I'm going to slip stitch down this chain row until I'm back at the corner. All right, I made it back to the corner now, and I want to add more whimsy because I feel like it's cute, but we could definitely make it more whimsical. And the way I'm going to make it more whimsical, first I'm going to slip stitch up the ribbed stitch single crochets here until I'm back at the actual body of the work. There we go. Now I am back at the body of the work, and now what I'm going to do is I am going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to skip my first row here. And then when I hit the second row, I'm skipping the green. And then when I hit the pink, I'm going to come into the pink section with a single crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, the pink section. Then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip the green stitches and then single crochet into the pink ones. and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I'll skip those 2 green rows, single crochet into the pink rows. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then skip the green rows, single crochet into the pink ones. And I'm gonna repeat that all the way across for this row. All right, here I am at the other end. I'm gonna do my last chain 3. There's 1, 2, 3. I'll skip my next 2 stitches, and then at the corner there, I'll do my final single crochet. And then I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. And here is where we're going to create a little bit of whimsy. So in these chain 3 spaces, I am going to put 4 single crochets. So I'll put my first single crochet into the first single crochet stitch here, and then I'm gonna put 4 single crochets into this chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to single crochet 2 together for these next 2 single crochets. So insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And then we're back at a chain 3. So I'm gonna put 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now in this next single crochet section, I'll single crochet 2 together. And then at the next chain 3, I'll put in 4 single crochets. And I'm gonna repeat that all the way across for this next row. And you're gonna see at the end of the row, there's gonna be a really cute little ruffle left behind. All right, I've got my last stitch here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 1 more single crochet just to finish off that section. And now we're actually done with these ruffles. They're just some simple, little gentle, delicate ruffles. I think that looks really cute and adds just enough whimsy to make this an extra cute little hat. So now I'm going to finish that off by pulling a loop through. I can break my yarn off at this point, and then I will weave in that end. And now I think that we should also add a little pom-pom on the top, don't you think? At this point, our little hat will do up with these ties. So their little baby noggin will be in here. There will be a little point at the top, and then this will tie just around the chin neck zone. And then we've got these cute little ruffles. So now let's make a little pom-pom for the top. What do you think? Do we do it in green or do we do it in pink? I think maybe we should stick with the pink. Now let's make a pom-pom. So I'm gonna make a pom-pom the way that I always have and probably always will. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a tail, and then I'm gonna spread my fingers out just to a measurement that seems right, but you could do it just around your hands, but I'm gonna spread mine out a bit. And then I'm just going to wrap the yarn around my hand 1,000,000 times. This is not a pom-pom tutorial, but 1,000,000 times-ish. I'll tell you when I'm done. I'm not counting, but you'll see what it looks like. Let me just pull that tail out of the way. Here's what it looks like after what I am counting as about 1,000,000 times. I'm gonna break the yarn off at the other end. I'm going to tuck the yarn, the loose ends, underneath my fingers here to just sort of secure it. And then with this other tail here, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side of the what will be a pom-pom. Then I'll pull that nice and tight, and then I'll pull my fingers out of there. And now with those 2 ends, I'm going to just crisscross them over each other and then do the same thing again. First I'll tie a little loose knot, crisscross them over each other again, back to the first side. This is not scientific, obviously. All right, and then once that's nice and tight, I'll tie a stronger knot. And then I'm gonna go around one more time to the first side and tie one more knot just to really secure that as best as possible. And this one I'm gonna double knot it as well. There. Now this is where we're gonna sew the pom-pom on, so we're gonna keep those strands long. And now I'm gonna grab my scissors and I'm gonna cut this open. This part can get a little messy, so I'm gonna just move my project out of the way and start cutting. And there we go. Now once I've cut through all the loops, I'm just gonna sort of jazz up this pom-pom, loosen up all those strands together, and then holding the pom-pom by the strings we are going to use to sew it on, I'm gonna just go around it and sort of round off the edges. This is where the messy part comes in. All right, the next step is to get the hat back out, and then we're going to be putting the pom-pom right on that top corner there. So I'm going to thread up my yarn needle with one of the sides of yarn, and I'm going to just pop that through, right through the work at the tip, just like that. And then you can let the yarn needle let go of it and thread up the second piece of yarn that's tailing out there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing right around the same location, just going the opposite direction. And then I'll pull that one through. And now these can get pulled on, and I'm gonna tie a nice tight knot right at that location. And yes, the knot is technically on the outside right now, but don't worry, because the next step, I'm going to thread up just one of these yarn needles, and I'm going to insert that needle down through the pom-pom and through the work so that the yarn is coming out through the inside of the work. There we go. And there's our tail. And then there should be one more tail left here. We're gonna yarn or thread up the needle one more time, pass it through the pom-pom again. And then after it's passed through the pom-pom, this is just extra security, I'm gonna pass it down through the work as well. And then those will both be coming up in different spots, which is good. And what I'm going to do with this one that I've not separated yet is I'm gonna insert it through the seam at the back top of the work so that they're coming on two sides of the seam. And then I'm just going to tie a really nice tight knot there, and that will just secure that pom-pom in place. And now I'm going to thread up the yarn needle with both pieces of yarn, and then I'll just weave in those ends. And guess what, friends? Just like that, it's finished. This is such an easy and quick working project. It came out so freaking cute. Look at that little pom-pom. We did that delicate pink with the beautiful forest green. I think this came out really whimsical. And this is gonna be a great hat for baby all winter long. So this is for a 1-year-old. I think I said 9 to 12 months. I think this will be more like a 12-month-old because it's a little bit large. But you could definitely make it smaller by starting with a shorter initial chain. We've got these adorable little ties. I have this little demon bird who wants to play with my hat here. Can you leave me alone? We've got these adorable little ties that tie up so that the hat will stay on baby's head. And from the front, we can fold over that little ruffled area for a little extra visibility for baby if it's not too cold out. But with that textured stitch, we did the back loops only, and that created this sort of tiered look, like sort of like a shingling look on it. I think it came out really, really cute. I really love that delicate pink. I love these delicate lacy ruffles at the edge. I think that was really a good idea. And I think that by doing that front post, back post, double crochet at the bottom, it just creates a little bit more of a finished look. And I think this came out just darling. What do you think of this project? Oh gosh, I love this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of this one. Let me know if you're gonna be making a similar bonnet for the holiday season or just for those winter months when you can use a little extra warmth on baby's head. And thank you so much to everyone who is supporting the channel right now. I really appreciate you guys. Here is the list of all of the supporters. If you wanna show your support for the channel and help the channel grow, don't forget to click the like button and check out all the links in the description down below. All the ways you can support are listed down there. Anyways, friends, thank you so much for watching. That's all I've got for you today. I'll see you next week. Bye!